Well, I sometimes think many of us wonder if you can be a family man and still be a tough cop in a big city like L.A. Danny Glover, your character takes on that issue broadside. You really are both. And I'm wondering if you've ever heard from professional law enforcement officers as to how easy or not easy it is to maintain a sane family life.
Well, I imagine it's tough, incredibly. I mean, your life is on the line all the time, and you have to come home to another situation. But I would imagine also that part of coping with that, both extremes, is to bring as much dedication and breath to both of those things, both the job, one, and then the experience with your family is another.
Can we apply the challenges like that maybe to those of an actor coming home to his family after a day on the set?
No, not really. You know, I'm make-believe out here. I'm pretending, you know. I'm shooting with full-load blanks. You know, I'm not being shot at with real bullets. I don't think there's an analogy there.
But let's say as an actor on any kind of a project, you're away from the home for a day and you come back and you were having to adjust from a fantasy world now to the real thing.
Well, yeah, of course. There's my wife thinks I carry a lot of it with me, you know, when I'm working on a character.
How can she tell that? Does she tell you that?
I don't think she can, you know. I think I become a bit moody, a bit real moody. I get real quiet when I'm working on a project. It's one of my hallmarks, that I'm real quiet, deliberate, you know, and I'm paying attention and listening, but on the other hand, I'm not listening. I'm not as attentive when I'm working, you know. I try to do and pretend that I am, but I'm not as attentive.
You're a seasoned veteran at this by now, and working with young Tracy Wolf, you have as your screen daughter a newcomer to the movies.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to kind of take her under your wing a little bit?
No, she's great in her own right. She does incredibly well in her own right. You know, and there were certain things. I mean, the wonderful thing about acting is being able to watch someone else work. You know, and you're able to learn from each other. You know, no matter how many times you've done it. You know, I was able to learn from Mel, who's done it more than I have, and maybe Mel learned something from me. Maybe I know I learned something from Tracy, and vice versa. So it's reciprocal in a way. Yeah.
What do you think a guy like Mel Gibson might, in all fairness, learn from you? Any speculations there? Is that a tough question?
That's a tough one. That's a loaded one. But I mean, there's something, you know, we watch each other. I think people who appreciate what they're doing, and this is a business that's very competitive, very, as a friend of mine once said about reptilian, as he called it.
Serpentine.
Reptilian. It's a business that does that, but I think that truly those people who really love what they're doing and appreciate other people's work, in some sense, watch each other and learn from them and pick up each other. We enter this world getting from people, always. I mean, our whole makeup is you getting something from someone else to get where you are. We're always taking. I've taken from my grandparents, my mother, father, brothers, sisters, and everyone who's laid this path for me along. And so it's part of growing. It's part of our whole socialization, our own humanization.
In fact, I'd like to stay with your dad, if I may. There's a Kansas City connection there, if you could explain.
Yes. My dad is from Kansas City. I mean, so much I've gotten from him, you know. Just his own quietness that I appreciate, and just his own really accessibility, my dad, you know, in a ways, you know. And in one way, being able to embrace him now, because he's up in age, and understand him, spend much more time with my dad, because I remember when he was my age. I remember when he was 40 years old, you know, and
now, is he 6'4" too? I mean, when you embrace him, are you looking up or down?
I'm looking way down. My dad is a foot shorter than I am.
Yeah.
But he's 8 foot to me.
What if you could take us onto the set, working now with Mel Gibson? Did the two of you take each other's measure initially? Were you friends initially? Anything to break through there?
Well, there's no breakthrough when you say, this is what we want to do, this is a film that we want to make, and this is what we see in terms of this film. There's nothing to break through. I mean, probably the one thing you break through, both of us are instinctively quiet people. You know, we're very quiet. You know, so getting a conversation. I'm not a great conversationalist. I may talk now because of the questions. I have questions to answer and everything. But that was about the only thing we broke through. Once we started, it was just wonderful. I mean,
But by contrast to your quietness, he's a little bit more irrepressible, isn't he, on a set?
well, no, he's real quiet. He's real quiet.
No practical jokes?
Well, he does a little bit of that. We all do that, you know. We had the greatest practical joker for a director.
Oh, no, I can't let that go by.
The funniest guy is unbelievable funny. This Dick Donner is just unbelievable, believable. He's funny, you know.
Is that important?
Yeah, he keeps it light in a way, you know. It's a line that I use. He'd always come up to the crew. Why am I waiting?
Why is he waiting?
Why am I waiting? You know, it takes forever to set up, you know, a shot. So it's why am I waiting? This is a line, but it's so funny when Dick says it. No one says it like Dick, you know. And you get an immediate response. Steve Goldblatt, why am I waiting? Steve Goldblatt was the cinematographer on the film.
Well, Danny, why were you keeping him waiting?
Well,
what was going on? Take us out to Victorville. You were all waiting around in the desert out there for stretches at a time.
Please.
Yeah.
I mean, you ate, slept, dirt, dust. That was something to experience. Or the night shooting. Being wet, and when we shot the fight, that was at night. There was no day for night on that. That was at night.
Couldn't Shin Mel ever slip away for a beer?
Oh, shoot. I can remember shivering every time I think about it. That's the thing about looking at films and watching yourself, is sometimes there's some moment in the film where you look at it and you say, boy, I remember everything that happened at that moment. And I'm feeling how my body reacted in that moment. You know,
sensory memories, too.
Oh, boy.
The big man on screen, Danny Glover.
Take care.
Good to see you.
All right.
Want to say hey to Kansas City?
Hey, Kansas City.
We're both in Hollywood, and we're on
got
KCTV5.
a crazy little woman.
Hey, you do, eh? On that note, I'm John Tibbetts.